Hello, Liberty Spenders. We are really pleased to provide you something unique and different for our next few episodes. Every one of them that you're about to see were recorded live from the U.S. Christian Chamber of Commerce SWC 2026 conference in Orlando, Florida. Now, they're a different format than we're used to doing. Instead of our long-form episodes that are often 45 minutes, we really only had about 10 to 15 minutes for each business owner or ministry person that we interviewed. But it was some absolutely amazing people. I think you're going to absolutely love these episodes. We're going to be condensing several of them into one episode. By the way, I really want to encourage you guys, if you've not ever investigated the U.S. Christian Chamber of Commerce, to absolutely do it. Check them out at www.uschristianchamber.com. It's a great organization that you all should consider supporting and joining. In addition to having a U.S. chapter, they have local Christian chambers of commerce in a host of places all over the country that you should consider joining. Stay tuned. Listen to some really cool stories. I'm sure you'll love them. Well, hello, Liberty Spenders. Once again, we are coming at you live from the SWC Conference 2026 in Orlando, Florida. That's the once every 2-year conference of the U.S. Christian Chamber of Commerce. I have with me Stephen Scoggins. Now, fans of the podcast have seen him more than once, as I was on Stephen's podcast in his house, which was probably worth the whole podcast experience, was to come to Lake Norman, which I've never been before, and hang with him. And it was awesome. But what I love about Stephen is the passion that he has for helping faith leaders where they struggle the most. He's got a great book, One Part Lion, One Part Lamb, podcast. He's the founder of the Lion's Den and also helps founders through the Founders Freedom Accelerator. But I want to start with this. I love this statement, where faith-led leaders struggle the most. So where would you say they struggle the most?
All right. So I had a good friend of mine recently come to my house. We did like a brand intensive, as if I haven't spent enough time, energy, and brand stuff, right? And in doing so, we realized something very similar. You guys would love this. When it comes down to it, we discovered that chaos, by definition, might just be a spiritual principality. So what I discovered is sometimes chaos doesn't show up in the form of pressure and compression. A lot of times it just shows up as complexity. So a lot of entrepreneurs do what I did for a number of decades. That's why I learned there was a better way,
right?
Which is we try to scale dysfunction.
Yeah.
And scale dysfunction is nothing more than letting chaos reign in your business. Right?
Yeah.
So, and a lot of that is we over-strategize and under-implement rather than spending some time creating a baseline strategy, a baseline implementation process, seeing it all the way through, and simply starting at the beginning of the business and moving all the way to the end of the business. And a lot of that's because we're like, oh my God, it's going to take me 10 years to put all this stuff in place. The reality is compounded confidence, compounding, multiplication happens by step, and it actually happens quicker. So if you spent 24 months implementing the major systems, processes, getting the right team in the right place, all these types of things, you'll not only pick up 10 years of advancement, you'll save yourself 10 years of frustration.
I love it. Every time I did a podcast with you, I wanted to just sort of turn off the cameras and take notes. Over-strategize, under-implement, right?
Yeah.
That could be a book.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, so the good news is all of what I share comes down to straight experience, right?
Yeah.
I've built and scaled companies. I will tell people publicly, I did not do it well. I get a lot of credibility on the media side that all of a sudden, like I'm some kind of thing, but I'm not a thing. I just did it wrong and somehow survived it.
Right.
just being honest. Right. And I guarantee there's listeners and viewers right now, right, that probably have an idea of where they should put their time and energy in their business, and they've probably been avoiding it. You know, in the last show, we had a chance to talk about the 5 constraints. And I'll just pull one out of here. So one of the constraints we talked about was ignorance. What I've discovered by ignorance isn't just not knowing what to do. Ignorance is also knowing what to do, but not doing it because of what will require you to change. Right? So a lot of us won't take action because we're scared of how it's going to force us to change or change the business and the lift that's going to be required. When you look at the strategy component, all you need to do is to start with the number one major leverage point, and then break that down into 3 specific steps, and then do those steps. But it's easier for our brains to tell ourselves that if we put enough anxious energy out into the world, that all things are going to be just amazing and whatever. So baseline strategy, and then line of sight, discipline-based implementation. Look at it you could take an annual year, right? And take a major initiative to tackle one major initiative for 1 month. All hands on deck. Everybody, we're all focused on this one initiative. You'll see that it gets accomplished. You do the same thing for month 2, right? You do the same thing for month 3. What you'll see is all of a sudden you had 12 major initiatives that has literally changed the landscape of your entire business and your leadership. Just because you decide to be laser focused. And it's probably going to be in the place that you've been avoiding the most.
What are you saying yes to right now? But also, and what are you building for the future?
Yeah, so I think 2 things. I'm saying yes to finally being willing to be in public, like at a high level. I've been in the public eye in some respects at a moderate level, mainly because of fear. Like when you put yourself out there in a major public way and you're making major public, you're doing these types of things, you're putting yourself in the line of sight for as they said, the enemy to come in, tackle you. And I finally feel comfortable in my own skin to the point where I know that I'm my most authentic self. Okay. That alone is creating a bit of a magnetic field, if you will, for good things to start to transpire as far as me being aligned with you like yourself and your amazing wife who are helping me like line myself up with other leaders, especially with these wonderful dinners you guys put on, right? That's one piece. And then on top of the visibility aspect, what I've discovered is you have to have the infrastructure. So we started with infrastructure, we're moving to visibility, and then we're constantly rebuilding infrastructure. Yeah. And that should give us stability.
Yeah. I love that. We're also really big on relationships. You mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
We're really working hard to help people make valuable connections. And it's because I've learned an important lesson. Almost all of the biggest transformations in my life have come.
And transactions.
Have come through people.
Yep.
I'm sure there's an example in your business world, just like mine.
Yeah.
Was there a relationship or a person you met at some key point and it really created a major transition for you?
Yeah, so I'll say publicly that this world of brand and personal brand is a very expensive endeavor. Okay, just don't underestimate that. I did a podcast about 4 years ago on a whim because my podcast producer at the time said, "You need to know this guy." I'm like, "Okay, cool. This is awesome." So I get on this podcast, and me and this guy, we hit it off instantly. It was a video podcast. It was back during COVID, and his name is Randy Garn. Now, Randy Garn is probably one of the most connected men I've met in my entire life. I have, everywhere I go, ever been with him, he knows everybody there. He's very connected to the thought leadership world, the governmental world. He's very connected to faith world. In fact, for his specific faith, he's actually the mission president for the entire state of Texas right now, which is pretty phenomenal. But Randy made inroads for me in so many points, so much so that I moved out to Utah for about a year and a half after selling my company. What Randy did for me is he became my new Steve Myrick. So part of Old Man Myrick's story, which we shared on a prior podcast, both of ours, was I had somebody that believed in me more than I believed in myself, right? So when you step into the personal world, as far as visibility wise, you get lots of like limiting beliefs, lots of comparison, lots of things come up. And you almost need that person to say, not only do I believe you're made for this, I'm going to put you in contact with people who can help you make this a reality, this manifestation, if you will. And Randy was that person. So Randy became my advocate into the world of highly connected leader. I'll give you an example. He's on Tony Robbins' board. So meeting Tony and Dean and all these different people in this thought leadership world became very quickly accessible just because of a friendship. And so I would say that when these relationships do open, these introductions do happen, see them as the honoring gift that they are, right? Because one person can really, really make a difference. I know you guys have had major transactions and deals with subtle relationships. Like, hey, I think you need to know this person. I think you need to know that person. And, that's, y'all's entire world is built on that. And you guys are amazing. One final thing, I've got to share this because Randy said this. His dad had this quote. He said, he has serve as many people as you can, as often as you can, expect nothing in return. And If you will do that, you will have no shortage of opportunities. And Randy has been 1,000% right with that.
Yeah. That's absolutely true, because we all have met that person who's dealing more transactionally, right? And you pick up on that. It's like I feel like most humans are almost born with this innate sense.
Yeah.
But when you come and say, I'm here to help, and I want you to prosper, and we don't need to have a conversation about how we can reciprocate. People are moved by that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because everybody's so used to be, especially the more, and I call this paper success, right? Paper success is like on paper, you're successful, right? Your internal world may be a hot mess.
Right.
I've been both, right? But when you're on paper success and you're put into different environments, everyone comes with an ask. Very few show up with a give. And one of the things I love about what you guys do specifically is when you do cultivate these rooms, you're telling people before they even enter the door, we want you to come with a give, right? Come with a give and let reciprocity take its shape on its own. Like, you don't need to force it or control it. You don't need to sit at a table and tell about how amazing you are and how next year your biggest invention is going to be and how it's going to be $1 billion enterprise. It's like, what if you could just come in and mentor someone who's going through a very difficult season, and share from experience? Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, and God really comes in those moments, because as we've put some of these events together, some people show up. Sometimes people they weren't invited. They were invited by a friend of ours, and we said, yeah, bring them. And then they're just the right person at the right time for somebody in that room. And that isn't something we take credit for. For people who want to find you, they're interested in your book, they're interested in your Founders Freedom Accelerator. How do they find you?
Well, the first thing I would have everybody do more than anything else is I'd like to give. Okay. The book's not coming out till 2027, so it's a little early for even pre-sales, but I'm super excited about it. One part lion, one part lamb, a guide to rise to the last.
Yeah.
But like on a prior episode, we talked about the 5 constraints, and I find that most leaders don't actually understand what's constraining them. So as a result, I spent a decent chunk of change and invested in a tool that everyone can find at StephenScoggins.com. That's StephenScoggins.com/leadership. It's called the Aligned Leadership Index. They can take it. It takes about 10 minutes. It'll help them understand the bottleneck in their leadership, the bottleneck in their business, but more importantly, the bottleneck in their momentum. It'll give them a customized program, and it sells you absolutely nothing. It's 1,000% a gift. And if they want to discover it, they can just say, hey, let's schedule a call. And then my team can take it from there.
Yeah. Well, definitely check it out. I've spent a lot of time with Stephen in the last few months, including in Lake Norman.
Let's go.
So for those of you who are looking for a cool podcast to be on, I would highly recommend. And you should definitely check Stephen out. Thank you so much for doing this with us. I have with me Linda Hansen. She's a political strategist, pundit, and podcaster. And she, through her company, Prosperity 101, unleashes the power of employees and employers to reclaim and preserve America. So pumped to have you here.
That's the goal.
So talk about Prosperity 101. For folks who don't know anything about it, what is it that you do to unleash this power?
What is it that I do? Well, for Prosperity 101, it is called Prosperity 101, not because it is focused on money,
right,
but it is focused on human flourishing and freedom, which is true prosperity. And we have that true prosperity through the freedoms that we have, our God-given rights. They are protected by our Constitution and our system of government. Obviously, people around the world do not have those same freedoms. And so in order to retain that and reclaim, I say, and preserve, we need to educate our citizens. And so for employers, it's really important for them to help their employees understand how policy affects their paychecks. And so that's what I try to do, help employers connect the dots between policy and paycheck, but also, especially for Christian employers, you can even take that one step further. As the employees know that you care about them enough to share this information, it becomes a great relationship. It builds loyalty, engagement, and retention when employers really care and share this important information with employees.
So how would you do that tactically as an employer? Are you holding webinars? What is it that you're doing?
We can do a lot of things. One main thing, I'd encourage every employer to read this book, Prosperity 101. It's on my website, prosperity101.com. I also have an Unleashing Wisdom in the Workplace. It is a Christian employer's guide. This is non-Christian employers can like it, but it's really speaking to Christians. But then I have a break room economics online course that is meant for employers to share with employees. Now they can do that online. They just give it to them and they go in our learning management system or their own and take this 12 lessons, short videos, short lessons. They can do that independently, or they can do what some employers do and do it as a lunch and learn or a all-day seminar, 12 lessons in an all-day seminar. Or some have done it, they dropped it in like once a month into their like payroll program or whatever. Right. And then they talk about it with their employees that way too. Some have had me in to speak. So the course I do license to employers. I license the course and then they can choose how they want to use it. I also will go in and speak. I'll train the trainers. So if you have a large company, I'll be happy to go in and help your managers, whatever, know how to speak about this. So everything is nonpartisan. And never mentions a candidate and does not say who to vote for. But we go through the basic foundations of prosperity. That is, our God-given rights and how they're protected with our system of government. So very, very basic. Think fifth grade civics that so many people never got, right? Right. And then the policies of prosperity, the very basics of what it takes for a successful business to be able to thrive. And in this section, we don't tell them what to think, or we don't tell them. We ask questions. Ask questions. How does this, what does this mean to you? So we have foundations and then policies. And then the last part is how to protect that. Prosperity is really how to protect your freedom by becoming informed, involved, and impactful citizen. Yeah. And so it's easy. It's quick. It can be done independently. It could just be offered as something employers just offer. Or they can be more engaged with it depending on their type of workplace. Yeah. So, and I also have for the employers, I have a community. It's called Employers Unleashed. Okay. Employers Unleashed. I invite everybody to join it. We can also have you become part of the Employers Unleashed community where we tackle the 7 mountains of culture. Are you, have you talked about that much on your broadcast?
No, I haven't talked about it much.
The 7 mountains of culture, like if you think business, family, education, media, arts and entertainment, government, military, and religion. These are like the core, mountains of culture that we have. And we as conservatives and especially as Christians have really surrendered those mountains. Okay. This is why if you go to my website, you'll see this flag picture. We need to take back the mountains. And that's one of the things God tells us to do is take the mountains, right? And so how do we do that? So every business owner or business leader is not called to be the leader or a leader in every single mountain. But business intersects all of those mountains, every single mountain. So, not only do I say business leaders can help us take back these mountains, but I say if we truly want to reclaim and preserve America, if business leaders don't step up and do this, where will we be? Because I think employers, business leaders, they're the last line of defense. Yeah. People have come through the educational systems. They have come through, grade school, preschool, college, and where are they? They're all protesting in the streets. And even young people who are coming to Christ and having, more revival in their lives, they're not understanding why socialism or communism is not good. And they're not voting for the very freedoms that they want to have to live out their faith. So we need to help people connect those dots. Yeah. So that's why I want to unleash the power of employers to educate their employees about this.
I love it. One of the themes, or the theme of this year's conference is yes and.
Yes and.
Yes and. So where would you say you're saying yes to something, and what are you looking to build for the future?
I say, where am I saying yes to God? By continuing to do this. I said yes to God when I launched this many years ago. I was speaking to, hundreds of top managers at a major retailer in the Midwest. And as I had the microphone in my hand, God said, they get it. The people who stock the shelves in their stores do not. I want you to write a book and develop program for employers to educate employees. And that's what I did. And it became very, very popular. And I know that it has helped to change lives. And so I keep saying yes. There's been times it's been hard, whether you're physically ill or whatever. There's been times you just keep pressing through, because once God calls you to something and you know that that's your call, you keep saying yes. And I can't say no.
Yeah.
I can't say no. So for me, it's as long as the Lord keeps telling me to do this, I will keep doing this.
Yeah.
So, and I pray that I can have a greater impact for Him. I know that I hear from people all over the world. And one thing that's an interesting thing, and it should speak to the people listening, I hear from so many people from other countries.
Yeah.
Countries that have been communistic, countries that have fallen to socialism, people from those countries, as well as people who live here, used to live in those countries, and they understand this. But so many people, native-born Americans, are like, well, I don't have time for that.
Right.
Well, we need to have time for this, because if we care about our religious freedom or our freedom to do business, we had better step up and say yes to God and, at the very least, be an informed voter.
Absolutely.
And vote in every election and understand what you're voting for. Not everyone's going to be an activist, and every workplace is different. So you're not always going to have, a very verbal person. Some of my employers that I work with are very outspoken, and it's taken very well. They've got great relationships with their employees, and they just have a real open environment to talk about it. Other places are very, I'm a little nervous, so they just offer the online fix.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But we all need to do something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We all need to say yes. We need to say yes to God, enlarging our vision, enlarging our call, and helping us to take back those 7 mountains of culture.
Yeah. So for people who want to learn more and want to find out more about you, where do they go?
They go to prosperity101.com, prosperity101.com. And so that's my website. Please go there. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm on X. Just follow me. And but basically the best place to find everything is at prosperity101.com.
Awesome. It's been great to have you on, Linda.
Thank you.
If you're listening to this show, it's probably because you understand something most people don't. Marketing to Liberty Spenders isn't just about ads or tactics, it's about trust. And in the real world, trust moves through relationships. And that's why private introductions and deal flow are such a core part of what we do.
So FastPass is a private introduction and deal flow network for Christian and conservative leaders who already have influence and want to scale fast. It's not open networking, it's intentional introductions between people who already share alignment. We've seen one client land a $25,000 opportunity from a single introduction. Another told us that FastPass has become his largest source of referrals, not because of volume, but because of fit. And yet another closed her equity round at a key moment just due to the right introduction.
When you book a one-to-one consult with us, we're not handing you a list or making big promises. Instead, we're having a real conversation about what you're building, who you want to meet, and whether FastPass makes sense for this season for you. So no pressure, no hustle, and no awkward pitch from us.
Yeah. If you're ready to grow through relationships instead of forcing everything on your own, head to libertyspenders.com/FastPass and book a one-to-one consult with us.
In worst case, you leave with clarity. Best case, the right introductions change the trajectory of what you're building.
Okay, back to the episode.
I have with me James Fenimore. He's a TV host and he's the co-founder of the Heart Posture Company, which helps business leaders be about his business. I love that statement.
I was pretty psyched when we came up with that.
Yeah?
Because we didn't come up with it. That came from the Most High King.
Yeah. Well, tell me about what the Heart Posture Company is all about.
Sure. So I mentioned to you earlier, I moved and my wife moved from New York down to Florida with what I call the great COVID migration.
Yes.
All believers. And we were like, we're out of here. This is not for us. This is oppressive. We were like frogs in a boiling pot for a while. I had a bunch of brick and mortar companies up there. I sold them, hundreds of employees. It was really hard to do. It was a big decision my wife and I, Trisha, had to come to. Yep. And we kept pieces of it though. And then we built out the Heart Posture Company because we wanted to be Christ-centered. Yeah. And none of my businesses up in New York were Christ-centered. I can tell you that. Not too much in New York is Christ-centered these days. So we said, you know what, let's just piece together our different companies and let's build kind of a conglomerate. So we have a big marketing firm with about 10 employees that work for us that helps people with their social media, their email campaigns, really anything that they need to get out into the world. But again, Christ-centered businesses. Then we have our consulting side. I was an executive coach also in New York. I brought that with me, but now it's I have a whole team that works with me now. It's not just me. You can work with me one-on-one or my wife one-on-one, but really we have a whole team that kind of stress tests your whole operation because the ultimate goal is to be about his business. Yeah. And that's what we want to be doing.
Well, talk to me about what that means, being about his business.
Sure. So I built a framework called the Kingdom Framework. Okay? It's for owners, leaders, and really anybody that's just in Christ. Because I consider you a leader. Like once you take that on, you are a leader. And it's Matthew 28:19, right? We got to go forth and make disciples, whether we're the receptionist at a company or the president of the company. We consider sometimes mission fields. We think of like Africa or Costa Rica. It's like, what about the person that works to your left or your right? Like that's your mission field too. Anywhere you go, because the actual Greek translation isn't just go forth. It's wherever you go, make disciples. And I don't know about you, but I'm usually at the office more than I'm at the house. So that's where I need to be focused on discipleship. What the Kingdom Framework does is it puts it in such a way that you don't have to worry about HR. You don't have to worry about legality. Because I know there are some places in this country where like this person on his lunch break kept preaching the gospel. He's got to go. So in the Kingdom Framework, I actually have a white paper. You can go to my website, thejamesfenimore.com, and you can download it for free. First K, know your authority. Right. Your authority in Christ and in the workplace. What are you allowed to do? What are you not allowed to do? We help you identify that. And then N is natural witness. How can you naturally witness to people? Not be in the break room, speaking the gospel, and getting in trouble with HR, right? And then it's, where am I? K, I forgot I. Yeah. I skipped I. You got me excited. I'm very excited about the Kingdom Framework. That's intentional presence. Yes. And then just, be present constantly. So like you get bad news at a meeting, we don't fly off the handle. Right. Pray, we take a deep breath, and we show people what it's all about to be in Christ. So now I got to spell it out. KING is grace in leadership. Okay, same thing. Having grace for your employees, having grace for your coworkers. Somebody messes up, we got to be Christian first and the worker second. When I was in New York, I was a New Yorker first always. Yes. And believe me, that didn't go well in traffic. So after G, we have D. That's decisions and prayer. I think that one speaks for itself. But more than that, how often as leaders are we asked, hey, I need you to make this decision. And what do we say? I'll think about it. Yeah. Give me a day. Let me sit on that. What if we were to just say, hey, I got to pray on that. Yep. I don't know what that would do for people. This guy prays. Right. Hey, he's nice to me when I mess up. Now I'm starting to realize where this is coming from and that it's obedience over outcomes, obviously, ethically acting no matter what we're doing, because we have to be obedient to his law, not our pockets. And then M is marketplace ministry. And that goes back to what I started with. Our mission field is the marketplace. It's not just Costa Rica, although that's amazing. In Africa, it's amazing. But the soul to your left is just as important as the soul overseas. Yeah, absolutely. This year's theme for the conference, I love it. It's yes and. So I've been asking people, what are you saying yes to right now? And what are you building for the future? So for me, it's obedience. And being obedient, because just recently I had an incident on my show where we accidentally... My bookers do a shotgun approach. If you have Reverend in your name, we're going to ask you to come on the show. And then I looked at what the Reverend was, and the Reverend was a Reverend of LGBTQIA and teaching people how to, live their life as a lesbian. Okay, fine. But we booked him in December. It was for 3 weeks ago. Yeah. And I said, in January, you got to rebook. when I saw what she was about. I go, rebook her. I go, she can't be on this show. It's just not going to work. And they forgot. So I'm sitting there interviewing somebody, and in the virtual waiting room, I see her face pop up, and I knew exactly what it was immediately.
Yes.
I was like, oh boy. So I said, we can't do it. I talked to my producers. I unmiked myself. I went back. I said, we just can't do it. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Well, that was me being obedient.
Yeah.
And it was a little, I felt bad. We messed up. We were supposed to schedule her, but I was like, it doesn't matter that we messed up. I'm not going to allow that to not be obedient to God. We still have to stand firm in His word. The show is about people giving out their ministry or their work that does ministry. So I didn't know what she was going to come on to promote because that wouldn't have worked for my audience of one. And through that, she tried to cancel me all over social media. This is how good God is. Through that cancellation, I just reshared it because I wasn't ashamed of what I did because I knew who I was being obedient to. I wasn't being obedient to my flesh or the culture or even just feeling bad about making this mistake. So being obedient, I reshared what she shared and I said, hey, I'm just being obedient. I love this woman. I want to talk to her, but I can't put her on the show. My social media followers doubled. Because of that. It went totally viral. Now, my wife had a little something to do with it. She's got a big following. But through that, I got to go on national news. I'm a local show. I got to go on national news and preach the gospel. Think about what doors God got to open for me just by being obedient. So I just want to keep being obedient. That's my yes.
Talk about the TV show a little bit.
Sure.
So is it a YouTube show or are you on local television? What's the story?
So it's kind of both. Which is cool. I get to interview people for 7 to 10 minutes about their ministry. It's called Living My Faith. It's livingmyfaith.com. And I get to talk to you about your business, your ministry, just something you're passionate about. But it's all about how you're living your faith through it. And just getting closer to Christ and pushing out the gospel. And it's amazing because I get to meet people from all over the world, which is really cool. So we could do it in person or remote. If you're in the Jacksonville market, come on by. And we put together these 7-minute just clips. Those go out everywhere, all over the internet. But then we get to package them into a big hour-long show. And we air it locally on Jacksonville, in the Jacksonville market.
Nice. Nice. So we're big on relationships here at our podcast. We always like to ask people, what role has proximity played to the right person for you in growing your business?
Amen. Proximity is power, right? I mean, that is it. And the first proximity we need to have is a proximity to the Most High King, right? That is the most important proximity. Once you have that proximity, the power is going to come. And then through that, it's fellowship, discipleship. And that proximity then creates all these new relationships. When we started the TV show, we weren't like, it was going to cost us money if I'm being honest, right? Like there was no profit in it. But my wife and I decided, you know what? Proximity is power. We're going to be around all these believers and passionate people. Through that, the opportunities, not just what I just told you about, which is wild, but opportunities have started coming to us. We're both speakers. Now we're being asked to speak. I think we've doubled our speaking engagement in 3 or 4 months just from being around other believers. Like, hey, we like what you have to say. You like what I have to say. Why don't we say it together?
What decision or relationship changed your life trajectory the most, would you say?
Oh, that's easy. That's my wife. That's my wife. So, although my whole life I was around Christ, I'm Italian from New York. I grew up Catholic. It's what you do. But then, I went to church, but I don't think I really understood the relationship until I met my wife. She showed me what it's like to have a real loving relationship, not just being obedient, not just being fearful, but having a one-on-one relationship with Christ. Man, without that, I don't know where I'd be today.
Gotta love the women in our lives.
Amen.
So for people who are listening, how can they find you?
Sure. So my social media is at the James Fenimore because I don't even know this. James Fenimore is actually a pretty popular name with James Fenimore Cooper. The fact that I even appear on the first page of Google is impressive. At thejamesfenimore.com. That's where you can get the white paper about his business, the Kingdom Framework for living out your faith in the workplace. You could also find us theheartpostureco.com. And then also my wife's social media is at Trisha Fenimore. It's with an SH, not a CIA.
Yeah.
She would be very upset with me if I didn't specify that.
That's important.
But please get in touch with us. We'd love to talk to you. DM us on social media, or you can go to the website and you'll find all our email and contact information there.
Yeah, it's been awesome to have you on. Thanks, folks, for listening. Talk to you soon. Hello, Liberty Spenders. We're coming at you live from the SWC 2026 conference here in Orlando, Florida. Right now, I have with me Loree Cameron. She's with she does donor relations for the Jesus Film Project. It's a pleasure to have you with me.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Now, I think a lot of our audience will know what the Jesus Film is, but let's pretend they don't. Talk a little bit about what is the Jesus Film Project? What do you guys do to start with?
So the Jesus Film is the Gospel of Luke, is a film that was created in 1979. And so our heart mission is no one should have to learn a second language to hear the gospel and know that Jesus loves them. And so we have the Jesus Film in over 2,200 languages.
Wow.
And so we go out, we equip mission organizations with backpacks, with cameras, with the portable, so we can go into the jungle and set up a movie theater, basically. And we show them the film, and sometimes I've seen entire villages receive Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a pretty exciting ministry, but we're not just about a film. We have new innovations. We've got a virtual reality evangelist who goes into the virtual space, witnesses, evangelizes, the Jesus Film tools. We have, we're working in the gaming space, and we have a lot of little short films that kind of open up conversations. And so it's not just about one film. It's about reaching the body of Christ.
Well, one story, right?
Right, yes.
More than one way to reach.
Yes, exactly.
And how long have you been working with the Jesus Film Project?
So I've been with Jesus Film 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
And I've been aware of this for a very long time. You said the movie was made
1979.
79.
So that was the original.
That's the year I was born.
Yeah. So it's been around, but you would be surprised. There's a lot of people that don't know about the Jesus Film.
Yeah.
Internationally, people they all have a story, but in the U.S., not many people know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the exciting thing is, people go, what about that old film? Well, the interesting thing is when you have someone who's never seen a film, they, but they are goat herders and fishermen. And so the stories in the Bible, they're relatable to know.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of fun, but we're working on an animated version.
An animated version.
Yes.
Oh, that'll be a cool new innovation.
Keep your ears and eyes open because that's something new. And then we'll have it in all 2,200 languages.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
That is a big project to get it translated into 2,200 languages. Do you do that all at once? Does it take years to do, or how does that?
It takes years. So the process is we get the funding for the language because, you have to, go into the culture. We have to get local churches, local body, local people that understand the culture that, because a word in one culture may mean something else. And so making sure that it's biblically accurate, that it's culturally accurate. So it takes a long time. And then we don't want to just go into an area, show a film, and go have a good life.
This year's theme for the SWC conference is yes and. Yeah. So is there something that you and your organization are saying yes to and something you're building for the future?
Yes, I would say we are saying yes to innovation.
Right.
And go. That's what our whole thing is. We have, we really believe that, the digital path, the digital strategies, that's the Roman road. That's the way that we're getting into countries with closed doors. Like, in some countries, like in Turkey, when they had the earthquake, we had a huge response of people seeking the gospel. And so those are countries where you can't openly share, but you can get into the bedrooms and onto the computer. And so we have a huge strategy through digital. And like I said, we the gaming. We have a Minecraft product that's in pilot now. We're working on it. And, because there's like 2.3 billion kids annually that are playing games. And so this one, they're in a world and they go in and they learn biblical truths in the world. And there's one where the little character goes up to Simeon and gets the question right. So then he gives a like a hot dog and they go throw it in the fire for a sacrifice. It's just fun stuff, but it's engaging the children because, we know that one, the world is young.
Yes.
I mean, the median age in like Africa is like 14, I think now.
Wow.
And we know that people become believers, the percentages shrink once you get to be 30. And so we just really want to get that next generation.
Yeah, so important. Would you say maybe in your life, or maybe you have an example from Jesus' film, but where proximity and relationship made a big difference in your trajectory?
Oh, yes, with Jesus' film. This is a second season.
Yeah.
God has just given me, a wonderful life, but it came at a cost. It's like, I was a widow, a young widow, and I lost my husband 10 years ago to cancer, and I still had kids at home. And now, they're like, Mom, where are you going? This is, God has truly been faithful to me to bring joy out of the ashes, to have an opportunity where I get to serve Jesus and engage people in the mission. It's a great commission.
Right.
And I look at my job like I'm the connector. Like you got a fire hydrant and you got a hose, and I just connect it and get the gospel out there. So I love what I do, and but yes, it was a hard trial in my life, but God is faithful.
Yeah, that He is. I think that's an interesting journey that you were on. Was there something else surprising that you discovered during that process? You discovered working with the Jesus film, but what else? What other, like maybe surprising lesson or gift?
Yeah. Well, I think that for being a widow, my whole world just fell. I mean, you were like diagnosis of death was 2 months, and I just like, oh my goodness, like all the things that you plan. And so for me, one of the things was, I'm never going to be able to travel. Because I won't have a partner. I'm a woman. I'm by myself. How can I do that? And then it's like, God's like, no, you're going to Thailand. You're going to Ethiopia. And I'm paying for it.
Right.
Yeah. And so to be in the mission field, it really has shown me that I can do it. Like my life's not over just because my husband is with Jesus. My life, I still have an impact. I still have purpose. I still have joy. And so to encourage anybody that's going through something like that, even a widower, there is happiness. You have to grieve, and God held every one of my tears, and He listened to me like, I don't want to be this. I want my life back. But He is faithful, and I can't imagine a better second season.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, for people who want to learn more about the Jesus Film Project and how to help, how do they find you guys?
So you go to JesusFilm.org, and we have lots of ways to engage with us. Prayer is the first foundation. We know that's where all the work begins. And so, I have a lot of people say, I can't do that. I can't afford. Well, you can pray. You can be on your knees for us. You can be low, because it's a spiritual battle. It's a war out there. And, we know that we have the victory, but it's a spiritual battle. And so just covering our projects that are going forward, all the innovation, all the creativity, all of that, protect our teams that are in the because the languages that we have left are the harder ones, like oral languages, and just protect the teams that are out there doing the translations, doing the recordings, doing all of the work. And but if they want to give financially, there is a give opportunity.
Yeah.
And of course, we would be grateful for any gifts that could come in. And we have a newsletter. So there's lots of ways to be engaged. You just go to our website.
Yes, and that's jesusfilm.org. So Liberty Spenders, make sure you check it out. Thank you for checking in with us for this episode. And thank you for joining us.
Yes, well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, until next time, folks.